A man who worked for convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein at his Florida mansion had some information on his former boss that could have been important for investigators looking into whether he harmed teenage girls. But instead of handing over that information in the first place, he tried to sell it for $50,000. Little did he know, the buyer was an undercover FBI agent.
I'll let you count it when we're all done.
Okay. So I just want to see this.
Yeah, that's all. There's thousands, over here's fives.
We're digging into what the former Butler revealed in the sting operation, the punishment he faced for his actions, as this is yet another detail in the Epstein files. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. By the way, I have to say something. I don't think people realize how exposed their digital lives are to scammers until you finally, receive that notice of identity theft or credit card fraud on your account. And by then it's too late. The damage is already done. But with OmniWatch, in just minutes, you can protect your identity, your credit, and your financial accounts from scams all in one place. It runs on its own 24/7, scanning credit bureaus, the dark web to spot data breaches in real time. The website's amazing, so easy to navigate. And if something's off, OmniWatch is going to alert you to secure your accounts as soon as possible. And if identity theft does happen, they're backed up by $2 million in insurance, so you can have real protection and peace of mind. So safeguard your credit and your identity at www.omniwatch.com/sidebar for 50% off your first month. There is more video from the Epstein files that is getting a lot of attention right now, and that includes an FBI sting operation that busted one of Jeffrey Epstein's former employees. You see, after Epstein was convicted of sex crimes in Florida in the early 2000s, and there was concern that was really growing about the financier's connections to dozens of underage girls who reportedly gave him massages, current and former employees were questioned by authorities. One of those former employees was a man named Alfredo Rodriguez. Now, he apparently worked for Epstein as a house manager, maybe a butler, at the Palm Beach home between 2004 and 2005. And when he left his employment, he apparently took something with him, his own copy of Epstein's contact book. We've talked about this before, Epstein's little black book. There has long been speculation, right, that Epstein had some sort of client list, right, names of well-connected, high-profile people that he kept close to the vest as a kind of form of blackmail. That is not what this is. So this is a contact book with names, addresses for people who may have been very involved in Epstein's world, like the former business icon Leslie Wexner, as well as the former Duke and Duchess of York, ex-Prince Andrew, his former wife Sarah Ferguson. And the list, which was released well before the Epstein Files Transparency Act was passed, also had contact information for various hotels and airlines, maintenance companies. Now, to be clear, inclusion in this list, inclusion in Epstein's address book, doesn't indicate any sort of criminal wrongdoing, or it doesn't indicate that somebody was connected to illegal activities or knew about illegal activities. It was a contact book. But the Justice Department says that Alfredo Rodriguez did commit a crime when he held back the contact list when told to turn over any documentation that he had connected to Epstein. And when he then turned around and tried to sell the address book, that became a problem. That would end up with him facing a federal charge. Now, Rodriguez, when we think about him, has been framed in different ways for what he did. Some claim he was a whistleblower, trying to do the right thing, get incriminating information to investigators. But the other side is, if that was the case, why not turn the files over when the local police or the feds had asked for it, or even when he immediately got it, turn it over? Others say he was just greedy and wanted money, that he could be culpable in the abuse if he knew Epstein was harming young girls and did nothing to stop it. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay out this story, and we're also going to play portions of that undercover operation for you in just a minute, and maybe you'll decide for yourself about where he stands in all this. But Rodriguez was interviewed by Palm Beach police as they investigated claims against Epstein that would eventually lead to state charges. Remember, this is the so-called sweetheart deal. This is where Epstein would plead guilty to solicitation of prostitution charges, including a minor, had a short stint in jail. He was able to avoid more serious federal charges at the time. So here's what an investigative report from the Palm Beach Police Department says about officers' first interactions with this former butler, this house manager. And I do want to preface this by saying that there's a little bit of discrepancy in the narrative when it comes to dates, because sometimes things are written as 2005, other times as 2006, but the overall incident report itself has a date of July 2006. Okay. Quote, I received a telephone call from state attorney's office who informed me that the former houseman for Jeffrey Epstein, Alfredo Rodriguez, was present at the state attorney's office for an interview. Rodriguez was issued an investigative subpoena. During a sworn taped statement, Mr. Rodriguez stated he was employed by Jeffrey Epstein for approximately 6 months. He was referred by associates, and his employment lasted the months of November 2004 through May 2005. His responsibilities as house manager included being the butler, chauffeur, chef, houseman, run errands for Mr. Epstein, and provide for Epstein's guests. Rodriguez advised he had very limited contact with Mr. Epstein. If Rodriguez needed to relay a message to Mr. Epstein, he would have to notify Epstein's secretary, redacted, in New York City, who would then notify Epstein's personal assistant, redacted, who would relay the message to Epstein. Rodriguez stated Epstein did not want to see or hear the staff when he was in residence. I asked Rodriguez if Epstein received many guests during his stay in Palm Beach. Rodriguez advised he had many guests. I asked specifically about masseuses coming to the house. Rodriguez stated he would have 2 massages a day. Epstein would have 1 massage in the morning and 1 massage in the afternoon every day he was in residence. Rodriguez stated he would be informed to expect someone and make them comfortable until either redacted or Epstein would meet with them. I asked Rodriguez if any of the masseuses appeared young in age. He advised he didn't ask their ages, but felt they were very young. Rodriguez stated they ate like his own daughter, who was in high school. Rodriguez stated they would eat tons of cereal and drink milk all the time. Rodriguez stated the girls that would come appeared to be too young to be masseuses. He stated one time, under Epstein's direction, he delivered a dozen roses to redacted for one of the girls that came to provide a massage. He knew the girls were still in high school and were of high school age. I asked Rodriguez about the massages. He felt there was a lot more going on than just massages. Now, Rodriguez told detectives that he acted as a, quote, human ATM, meaning that Epstein required him to have at least $2,000 in cash on him at all times, and so this was in case he needed to give money to any of the girls coming to the home. He also said that he was told to buy gifts for the girls, like iPods and jewelry. Quote, when asked to identify these girls, Rodriguez stated that he could not at the moment, but knew he wrote their names down on a journal he kept during his employ with Mr. Epstein. He kept a journal in the event he needed to explain either to Mr. Epstein or his assistants what was done at the house or who visited the house, as he stated he was in charge of Mr. Epstein's personal security while in Palm Beach. I informed him I would need to view this journal, to which he stated he would research the book and contact me to provide the book. The interview was concluded and left the area. I returned back to the police station where the microcassette was placed into evidence. At approximately 7:20 p.m., I was notified Rodriguez located the journal and would call me on January 5th, 2005 to provide the journal. So on January 5th, when the investigator hadn't heard from Rodriguez, he called him and learned that he was helping his wife with her job and he wouldn't be able to come in. So he said that they could meet up the next day. This is January 6th. According to the incident report, Rodriguez and the investigator met up at a Bank of America location in Boca Raton, Florida. Quote, Rodriguez produced a green folder which contained documents, a note with Mr. Epstein's stationery with direction to deliver a bucket of roses to redacted. Also in that same note was direction to rent a car for redacted and direction to extend the rental contract. I returned to the Palm Beach police station and placed the folder into evidence. Now, you will notice that the address book or the list of contact information was not included in the paperwork that Rodriguez turned over. That's key. So according to later federal court paperwork, Rodriguez was then interviewed by FBI agents in January of 2007. But you fast forward to 2009. This is when the FBI met with a cooperating witness, or CW. That witness reported that they were doing discovery work as part of a civil lawsuit, the exchange of evidence. And that's when they encountered Alfredo Rodriguez, who was a subpoenaed witness. The CW told the FBI that Rodriguez was deposed twice under oath in connection with the lawsuit, and that he had testified that he had, quote, no documents responsive to the subpoena. But then after his second deposition, according to a federal affidavit, Rodriguez allegedly called the CW and told him he had additional information that he hadn't told any law enforcement or civil attorneys about. Quote, Rodriguez described the information as the Holy Grail or golden nuggets and explained that he compiled lists of additional victims in the case and their contact information. Rodriguez explained that the information contained hundreds of additional victims and their phone numbers from diverse geographic locations, including New York, New Mexico, and Paris, France. According to the FBI source, Rodriguez asked the CW to pay him $50,000 and he would turn over the documents. And the affidavit continues, the CW explained to Rodriguez that he was under subpoena to turn over such information and that it would be illegal for Rodriguez to demand money for turning over the information. Rodriguez persisted that he would only turn over the information in his possession in exchange for $50,000. Now, Rodriguez apparently repeated that demand in an FBI-monitored phone call. So what happens? CW told Rodriguez that an associate of his would be in touch. Turns out that associate was actually an undercover employee, a UCE. In a recorded phone call with the UCE, during the conversation, Rodriguez admitted that he knew that the information was relevant to the FBI's criminal investigation and was called for by the investigation. Rodriguez explained that he had not turned over the information to the FBI because it was his property and he should be compensated for it, and he was afraid that the target of the investigation would make him disappear or otherwise harm him, and the information was his insurance policy. So that brings us to this undercover sting operation in November of 2009. And we can see from FBI documentation released as part of the gigantic Epstein files dump that agents had requested $50,000 in show money for the operation from FBI headquarters, okay? In this video that was taken of the sting, the undercover employee is sitting in what appears to be a hotel room, and a hidden camera is positioned towards the door. And according to investigators, Rodriguez had brought this book, this small book, as well as a few loose sheets of paper. Now, the conversation could be a little hard to hear at points in the beginning while the TV's on, but I do want you to listen to what Rodriguez had to say to a person that he thinks works for an attorney in a civil lawsuit. Take a listen.
Alfredo, how are you? How you doing, buddy? Come on in.
How are you?
Come on in. Good. You have the documents with you?
I have it. I have a friend over there. I just want to see that you have everything, so we can.
Absolutely. You have friend right out here?
Yeah, no, he's in the car.
Okay, I just want to talk to you though.
No. He's not going to come in. I just.
Okay. All right, let me grab it. I'll show you.
Thank you.
You're a smart man. I don't blame you one bit.
You know Brad long time?
Yeah, I've done some work on and off with the firm. He's not my my only client.
Yeah, this is a very sensitive and crucial information that it wouldn't get otherwise.
Yeah, so I'm here. I'll let you count it when we're all done.
Okay. So I just want to see that.
Yeah, that's all. There's thousands, and here's fives. This one's fives. I'll show you the wrappers. Those are fives. And it goes underneath, there's another one. Tens. Okay?
I'm going to give you this. I understand what I mean. I'm going to give you.
Give me 1 second. Let me put this back before we talk.
Okay. This is because I'm not going to contact Brad again. Okay. I mean, if I want to call him another. Okay. This I highlight.
Good.
I highlight in this book that I have access, crucial information. I put it into my handwriting. So, but of course, it's not my name, nothing there. But this is to help Brad. So you need to point these things to him. And also I compile a list of the people, a list of the girls and families that were going when I was household manager. Okay? But what I took my time to organize this with stickers and I see dates. Now, this book, it was just listing properties. But because I'm the manager, I have all the cards they have to have, all these claims they were supposed to have. So I'm not stealing anything. That was my tool of the trade. So this is the information that I'm giving to him, but we have to point that to Brad. I went out of my way to point it out who is who. Beyond that, I don't want them to call me, I wanted to remember this, if you want to write it down. This lady lawyer who was on my left next to Brad, she asked me if I know who was the computer with. We used to have Citrix, all these properties all over the world. He used to be the only one having access to his computer. Probably before the FBI went to the house, they took his hard drives, I don't know. But if you contact and they subpoena this guy, he has all the information.
Do me a favor, go get the documents,
Yeah.
bring them in here, we're gonna lay them out on the table, we're
Okay.
gonna look at everything.
Okay.
I've got questions from Brad I need to ask you.
Okay.
That way you don't ever have to worry about meeting Brad again, have to talk to Brad
Okay.
again.
All right.
We'll get that squared away,
Let me
okay?
get- This is the real McCoy. This they probably burn all of this, okay?
Did they burn this, is that what you said?
Yeah, they make it this here. I kept two because, and then I give one to Detective Ricardo, and he said he doesn't have it, but he probably, I don't know what it is, but anyway, here is all the, let me just highlight this for you. Brad is more interested in this, Massage, Florida. All the phone numbers of the girls, and when I had the subpoena, they had my writing. They went to the garbage to find these records. Some of these girls, of course, they asked me, do you know? I said, no or yes, but here is the evidence of names, last names, area codes, okay?
Who created this book?
Again, Epstein himself.
This book was made by Epstein?
All his Mercedes, all his planes, they were supposed to have this. We make all of these disappear.
So he had a copy of these for everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere he
Well,
was.
of course, he said, I don't have it. Now, can I show you something?
Absolutely.
This is I got something here for you, but I'm going to tell you what is that. If you go one by one, for instance, Jean-Luc, he used to own the carrying model agencies all over the world. He used the scout to bring young girls to Epstein. That's what he's a carrying model bullshit.
How do you know that?
Because he called me, I said, Alfredo, I have 2 females for him. Personally, I will pick him up in the airport.
So you would pick up the girls?
With him, yes.
Okay.
All the time. Okay, now.
Now you knew he was having sex with these girls?
No, he was not involved. He will leave this girl. He will, airplane will operate a plane. He will back to Paris.
No, I'm talking about Epstein.
Yeah.
You knew Epstein was having sex with these girls that this guy
I didn't see them, but of course you're an adult. I have 2 girls, all the Luella and the Gardner we saw, and we looked the other way because once after he leaves the house, we will find condoms and vibrator. But I went through these 2 hours of testimony, you know.
Okay.
But this is the people that I couldn't say in front of the camera. I know because I have these documents at home. Because this is the agreement that I have with Brad. He doesn't know this. He cannot be tell anybody that whoever give you this, I don't know.
Well, where exactly did you find that?
This was in my desk. I have let me explain. Epstein owned a house all over Palm Beach, Paris, New York, Sorrel Ranch in New Mexico, the islands. Okay. He provided for my house. My kitchen is 3 times bigger than this, and I have a desk there. This and other books that I have information. But this was supposed to go. I have to call the pilot. I have it there, and also my computer. But just in case of power failure, he was very organized. So I was supposed to be this on every plane and everything. So
How did you keep that from getting destroyed?
because okay, good question. One day I took the Suburban. There were 2 Suburbans, identical for the staff. One had OnStar, the other one didn't have it or something. And Epstein said, "Oh, Alfredo, you took the one I like," and he used the excuse because he probably knew that I knew a lot of things. So he let me go. He paid me 3 months after that, no problem, good recommendation, whatever it is. But he knew already that I didn't have a clue, actually. You know, that he was an investigation. He didn't investigate. Proof of that is that when they show me when I was subpoenaed with Brad, they showed bank statements with my signature because I said, Alfredo, give me $30,000. Go to Colonial Bank, here's the cash. 20 times. My signature. They retrieve those from the bank and also the notes from the phone, from the garbage. The FBI was already telling him. I didn't know that.
The FBI was telling you.
The FBI was already involved with this. After the Palm Beach Police Department said we couldn't find anything about Epstein, of course, Palm Beach was bought out or something. The FBI got involved because these girls, they came from out of state, from out of the country. So FBI got involved. So I saw them both. Palm Beach Police Department, they asked me to subpoena, and I said, how did you work? Yes, but they don't have nothing of this.
Now, you were interviewed by the FBI?
Yeah.
And so I remember you told me that on the phone. How come you didn't tell them about that?
No, because they didn't ask me. Let me go on and you will see how deep is this, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Jean-Luc Brunel. So here I have another thing. Her Highness her Highness Duchess of York, personal friend of Epstein. All the time, he's checked in the house. I don't think she was involved, but look who called to the house. It's in the papers with my signature, okay? All right. You will see a lot of important people here, but let me just show you the personal secretary of Epstein. Her address in New York, emails, all of this they asked me, you know, how can I remember that it was his kid? Okay. Ghislaine Maxwell was his former companion, very powerful lady from England. She would go to the former Eastern countries in Europe and find girls for Epstein. And I knew that because I went with my wife. They used to have a computer so powerful, they used to have a water radiator to cool the computer because they used to download pictures like that so fast. Girls, she has nice breasts, she has this and that.
You saw that stuff?
Yeah.
On the computer?
Yeah.
Pictures of the girls? When they naked and stuff like that?
Yeah, I testified that.
You testified
Yeah,
that, right?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
That Brad knows about, but I couldn't prove that. You have to think about this. This information is only for Epstein, his associates, very close associates.
Right.
You know,
So those are mostly underage girls, the
Yeah.
numbers?
they were very young. Let me. You gotta know this. You have to know this. My wife and I, we used to own a small coffee shop, mom and pop operation, and we wanted to buy the property because at that time they were asking $300,000 commercial. So I showed the papers to Mr. Epstein to help me. He said, Mr. Epstein, can you help me? You know anybody that can give me money? And he said, call this person. So I called this person, beautiful girl, 28 years old, and I said, is Jeffrey in town? Of course, he was very eager to see him. So in no time, he showed up in the mansion. I wasn't going to throw it out. So I escorted to the outside of the house, and we sat in the courtyard, had a drink, and she told me, Alfredo, I'm going to need your social security, that to run your record. Okay, so we met for 10, 15 minutes. I was escorting out, and he saw her. And he said, hey, let's say, I don't know, Courtney, whatever it is. Hi, Jeffrey, boom, they hug, blah, 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 blah. Okay, thank you, boom. She goes, Mr. Epstein calls me. Alfredo, come to my office, please. How did you dare to bring her to my house? Mr. Epstein, you gave me her number. Yeah, I didn't tell you. I don't want to see her again. Because after 22 years old and on, he doesn't want any girl. He's diseased, he's sick.
So you didn't like the fact that she was there because she was an adult?
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I'm kind of nervous. But
No, don't be nervous.
Right,
We're going to take our time and go through
Right.
this one thing at a time.
All right. Another thing Brad wants to know, massage in the island. Little St.
That's
James.
private island?
Yeah, it's by Google, it's called Little St. James, but he renamed the island Little St. Jeff because of Jeffrey Epstein. Massage Island. I don't know if any of these girls that came.
It's got guys on there too, no?
Yeah, but you know.
You like boys too, or just girls?
No, I never saw guys here, but probably in some other places, probably use male. Okay. Now, in Manhattan, when any of the employees, females or males, we were supposed to stay for business, he owned a building, apartment building, empty, only for his models. There it is. I put apartment on this, my handwriting. Okay.
For his models, you mean the girls that he...
Exactly. Used to stay there, and her friends, and the way he operates is like a young looking, so he would be the young looking, younger girls will be comfortable with versus a 55-year-old guy.
Gotcha.
So they used to stay in the other apartment with all the amenities. Used to take them and entertainment in the best restaurants, a will, and whatever, Upper East Side, very expensive. Now this is a very important one. Leslie Wexner, he was Jeffrey Epstein's boss. He owns the Limited, Victoria's Secret, big bucks.
Right.
3 times more than Epstein.
Wow.
And any properties in Ohio, I used to call for my insurance, New Albany, Ohio. They asked me about the thing, and I said, I didn't know. There it is, address, phone number.
When you say they, you gotta clarify, was this
The lawyers, the other lawyers.
The FBI,
No, the FBI, no, the FBI didn't know nothing. The FBI just went to the files of Palm Beach Police Department They didn't subpoena me. We sit down in a coffee shop in Palm Beach, and we sit down there in a suit and tie, and a gentleman and lady, college graduates, super educated people. Unbelievable they were. If they didn't tell you, they don't show you the ID, you cannot tell they're FBI guys. Young guys, good looking. So they asked me the same thing. How long did you work there? And I said, well, you're asking the same questions at Palm Beach Police Department. And they said to me, well, now, Alfredo, this is in our hands because it's beyond state borders. Because he knows
he was traveling.
Exactly, because he brings her from Paris, from the island. As a matter of fact, I used to go to the international terminal when they came from the island instead of the other jet aviation.
Now, Rodriguez often refers to a company called Citrix, and this is still in operation today. It's a technology company that handles things like cloud computing, networking, IT services. And Epstein reportedly had a personal IT tech named Tim Newcomb. This is according to his contact list. And Rodriguez had said during a deposition that's who they were supposed to call if there were any issues with technology in the residence.
Now, here I go to the main thing. This is the guy, the computer guys that knows Citrix. He used to fly in Epstein's or private or the commercial and fix the computers. Okay? Tim Newcomb.
Is this the guy that erased the hard drives?
This is the guy.
Okay.
Okay? Nobody else was supposed to touch those computers. They have triple firewalls. And the phone company also have a special guy, I'm going to tell you who he was. The phone company at that time was, it's not Bell, it's a small company, but he was very particular of nobody else. I used to have the people, and they were filling this page, the contractors who was allowed to stay on Epstein property. John Cassidy, AC, and so on, if you hire somebody, I would be fired in 2 seconds.
But back to the computers, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Did you ever see anything on those computers? Any images of girls? Or
Exactly, I saw that.
You saw?
Remember I told you there was, Ghislaine Maxwell had an office under the stairs next to the kitchen. There's the computer who was a radiator with water. First time in my life I saw that to keep it cool because they used to download pictures like this, just like that.
What kind of pictures?
Naked girls from Sweden, from Romania, from Czechoslovakia, from Brazil, from
All
Colombia.
minors? All young girls?
Very young, very young.
Like when you say very young, how young are we talking?
16, 17, they're teenagers. They have braces, most of them.
Younger than that though?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Now-
this guy from Citrix, he erased all those images.
I'm assuming. Secret Service personnel escorting Mr. Barak Hood, former Prime Minister of Israel, on jet in plane. I don't know who the Secret Service, but I'm pretty sure they can say that we were in Palm Beach and such, and not with Epstein.
What went on that plane and how's that valuable?
Because here, Mr. Epstein says, Mr. Barak, I'll fly you to New York. And some of the girls that came along the way, very private plane.
Would be on the plane?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're thinking about a former head of state.
With these young girls?
Yeah, and I told this Brad, it's you can bring this guy down at no time.
All right. What else?
All right.
You have?
Jean-Luc Brunel, a scout for young females career models. This is a phone number that I don't think is in the book. David Copperfield, a magician, this phone number.
What's up with that?
He was in the house performing tricks, and if you subpoena him, he will say, well, they were his age or not. I'm pretty sure it's an important witness.
Okay.
Now, they were not naked when he was there, but I served him dinner,
Yeah.
But I would hate to be in court or they say, is this your handwriting, please? I don't know who's going to handle this, but, it doesn't have my name, it's my writing, but, I just want to put this behind it and let's help each other.
All right. Let me get you your money, buddy.
Okay, here. You want to take this?
Yeah, just leave it right there for now. I'll get your money. You can count it if you want. I might as well give you this bag to take with you. You can't walk out of here with this kind of cash. Go ahead and count it. And while you're counting it, I'm going to call Brad and see if he has any additional questions real quick before I let you go.
So as you might imagine, Rodriguez was ultimately arrested and detained for obstruction of official proceedings. He ended up waiving his Miranda rights in an interview with FBI agents. This is according to the federal affidavit. Quote, Rodriguez admitted that he had the documents and book in his possession and never turned them over to local law enforcement or the FBI. In addition, Rodriguez advised he had witnessed nude girls whom he believed were underage in the pool area of his former employer's home, knew that his former employer was engaging in sexual contact with underage girls, and had viewed pornographic images of underage girls on computers in his employer's home. Rodriguez was then released from custody for further investigation. So the information that Rodriguez was trying to sell was then shown to an agent who had been working diligently on the Epstein case. And the filing says, as Rodriguez had described, the items contained information material to the underlying investigation that would have been extremely useful in investigating and prosecuting this case, including names and contact information of material witnesses and additional victims. Had those items been produced in response to the inquiries of the state law enforcement officers or the FBI special agents, their contents would have been presented to the federal grand jury. So Rodriguez pleaded guilty to obstruction of official proceedings. He was sentenced to 18 months in prison. By the way, that's the same sentence that Epstein, his former employer, received years earlier for procuring a child for prostitution, soliciting prostitution. Epstein, in that state court case, was only served 13 months of his sentence. Rodriguez, it seemed, did the whole bid. And it seems just months after being released from prison, so we're talking 2014, Rodriguez died from cancer at the age of 60. This is according to reporting from the Telegraph. So just another interesting revelation from the Epstein saga we wanted to bring to you. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you should get your podcasts. You can also follow us on NBC's Peacock. If you want to follow me, X, Instagram, my News Nation show, Jesse Weber Live, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you next time, everybody.